So this is our project that Sarah Ali and Tobias Jamaat decided to take on, Middle Eastern representation in movies and games. So a brief overview. Before the 9/11 terrorist attacks on the World Trade Center and the Pentagon, Middle Easterns faced sweeping stereotypes about their culture and religion. We saw it every day. We saw it in schools. We saw it in public places. We saw it at workplaces. They were getting really stereotyped, and it went from being stereotypical to being actually racist towards them. Now we always see it in movies as Arabs are always the bad guys. We see it in video games, in Call of Duty, SOCOM, all these many video games. We're always trying to attack Middle Eastern countries. We're always invading them. We're always stopping them from a bomb attack, stuff like that. Um, they're always depicted as villains, terrorists, uh, brutes with backwards and mysterious customs. They're portrayed as Muslims, Arabs too, but a lot of things that a lot of people don't know is that big number of Arabs are Christian. Um, Also, one big thing is that they're always depicted to be in the desert. Arabs are always in the desert, riding on camels with rattlesnakes around. They're always seeking for a come up and as in waiting for somebody to come through and they overtake them. They're also always seen as these oil rich sheiks from Dubai or Qatar. Um, if they're not villains, they're just always really rich. So Arabs as villains and terrorists, usually an antagonistic roles in video games. Delta Force, I gave some examples here: Land Warrior, Counter Strike, Call of Duty, Medal of Honor. I have played Call of Duty and Counter Strike, and from what I remember, it is very stereotypical. You're pretty much invading a country. Americans are the one invading the country, but when the Arabs and Middle Easterns decide to fight back, they're known as villains. They're known as bad. They're known as terrorists. Terrorism, they're in their own country. They cannot be doing terrorist attacks towards the United States if they're in their own country. They are never really portrayed as heroes. They are only portrayed as heroes within their own society, like video games like Assassin's Creed or Prince of Persia. Prince of Persia recently came out with a video game, and it was it's a game where you're saving people in your own community from different attacks and stuff like that. So Arabs is barbaric. The movie Aladdin faced protests following its release in 1993 over depiction of Arab characters. The theme song declared that Aladdin hailed from a faraway place where the caravan camels roam, where they cut off your ear if they don't like your face. It's barbaric, but hey, it's home. Producers associate Arab culture and Islamic religion as that of harsh punishments and oppressive practices. Like again, we see it on TV. Apparently, you cannot be gay. You cannot cheat on your wife. You cannot speak of the government. Stuff like that will get you in really bad trouble, and that's how it's depicted in movies too. So the Arab woman, they're depicted as belly dancers. They are supposed to everything they do is for their husband, for their family. They often do not work. Um, they don't see we don't see them as much as male characters in movies. Usually when they do, they don't have speaking roles. They seem to be mute, and that's how they are portrayed in movies. Arab women are always portrayed as mutes because um, they can only speak when their husband tells them to. They have been portrayed as belly dancers and haram girls, a silent women covered in veils. So that's how women are portrayed in the middle in movies and video games. So Arabs as Muslim and foreigners. So this is a good stats page. So only 12% of Muslims in the world are of Middle Eastern descent. But when we think of Middle Eastern, when we think of Arabs, when we think of Iran, Saudi Arabia, Oman, Yemen, Dubai, Egypt, Syria, we always think of Muslims. We never think of Christians, we never think of Buddhists, nothing else. We always think of Muslims. But in actuality, there are a lot of Christians in these countries. Um, it has gotten really bad where in movies and video games where the Muslim, when we think of terrorists, we think of Muslims. And that is very false. A terrorist shouldn't be going together with Muslims. It shouldn't coincide with each other. They're perceived as high threat to security. Every time in the movies, when we see a Muslim like on the plane, I'm watching a movie. I see a Muslim on the plane, whether he's wearing a sheikh or he's like where he's a sheikh or he has the hijab on, anything like that. We think of fear. We think of a bomb. We just think of something is about to go down. That is the way the media has portrayed them for so long, and it's outdated and it's so false. Um, the Middle East, that people don't show. The media always shows outdated and sometimes false claims about the Middle East, but there are normal people like us. Their negatives are always shown more than your positive influences. It is a very urbanized countries. They're growing. Um, the growth of cities, Dubai, Riyadh, Doha, Abu Dhabi, congestion, pollution, leisure jobs, community, cost of living, house prices, social issues. They're just actual countries day in and day out with different success stories and different failure stories. They're just regular countries. They have an economy. They have hospitals. They have great universities for people to go and study. It's one of like for example, Dubai is actually one of the smartest city in the world. Um, so a responsible way to portray Middle Easterns are producers should travel to Middle Eastern countries before starting a project and making false and outdated assumptions. So these are all assumptions that are outdated and false. We see it all the time, and it is very disrespectful to the Middle Eastern culture, to the Arabs, because um, not all of them are terrorists. Not all of them are out there to hurt somebody. Not all of them are Muslims either. Um, I think we are so we are so brainwashed where every time we think of an Arab, we're thinking of trouble. We're thinking of them being Muslims. Everyone has stereotypes, and sometimes they are necessary for the viewers, but there needs to be a balanced representation. There can't be a stereotype for one culture where most of their stereotypes is being negative. For example, like we look at Africans, the stereotype that they have that are negative is like no food, they're always hungry, they don't have houses, and then like they have a little bit positive, something like they're strong, they work together. Same with the Jewish community. The Jewish community, their positives is that they are rich, they know how to save their money, stuff like that. But it seems like when it comes to Middle Easterners, we are not, and we do not have enough positives for them. We just seem to have negatives for them. So this was our project to show that Middle Easterners do have really good positive stuff about them, and this is our project, and this was done by Sarah Ali and Tobias Juma. Thank you.